What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys a replay I have from the Pokemon World Championships that just took place in Anaheim this weekend. I went there and I fought a bunch of really cool players. I did pretty good in the Anaheim Open, and I saw a lot of comments while I was gone on my videos where people wanted to see me use Murkrow, because I've been using the Tsarenna team that has Smeargle, Tsarenna, Tapu Koko, Mudsdale, Murkrow, and some other Pokemon. But anyways, people wanted to see Murkrow, so I decided to show a best of 3 where I did use the Murkrow. We're going to be using the Murkrow in game 2, but we're going to be going up against a fan who wanted to play a best of 3, wanted to test their team, and they're actually using a Noivern. It's supposed to be Salamence, but they're using a Noivern, and it actually has the same color palette. A shiny Noivern has the same color palette as a Salamence, so it kind of fits. This is still actually a really competitive game, even though we can see them using the Noivern. Their team is going to be Noivern, Garchomp, Gyarados, and Tapu Koko, and I will be back to uploading a ton of regular content, back with the stream highlights and the In It to Winjets, probably starting, right after this video. But I had one best of 3, and it's a Murkrow game, so I figured I would give this team that uses a Murkrow and Mudsdale one last ride and show you guys a pretty cool best of 3. And it's been a long time since I've actually went and done a replay analysis video, so it's gonna be pretty fun. And it's akin to like the old content I used to do on this channel. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this game against Sophie. Like I said, this is a fan that wanted to play a best of 3, and I figured I might as well use this Tsarenna team. Remember, this is the Teeter Dance Tsarenna paired with Own Tempo Smeargle and Own Tempo Mudsdale. So it's a little bit of a gimmick team. It's not super competitive, but it is a very fun team to play, and it showcases some unique mechanics that haven't really been utilized that much this season. So we're going to hop into game 1, get right into it, and hopefully you guys enjoy this game, because it is a pretty cool game. I think it's a very solid VGC game that showcases a bunch of doubles mechanics, and it's not just like a steamroll. It's a very long, drawn-out game, where the only weird thing in it is a Noivern that, like I said, is supposed to be a Salamence. So we're leading off with Smeargle and Tsarenna. Remember, this is the core that the lead, this is the lead that this team likes to lead with most of the time. So remember, Smeargle can learn any move, and he gets access to the ability Own Tempo. So we're going to be fake out of Noivern. I'm denying Tailwinds, denying Hurricanes, stuff like that. Since Noivern is incredibly fast, it's gonna flinch, and the Garchomp is going to go for a Swords Dance right off the bat. And I figured, like, worst case scenario, we're eating like a Rock Slide or an Earthquake. I'm really actually happy to see the Swords Dance, because I am going for a Teeter Dance of my own. I have my own dancing move, and it's going to confuse everything on the board other than my Smeargle, because Smeargle's Own Tempo prevents it from getting confused. So now that Garchomp is sitting at +2 while confused, which means if he hits himself, he would be taking a massive amount of damage. So it almost forces him to switch out just to play the safe card into Tapu Koko. I believe this Tapu Koko is switching in to block a Spore onto that Garchomp slot, but remember, I know that the Tapu Koko was in the team preview, so I am actually going to be going for a little bit of a different play. We're protecting with the Tsarenna, don't want to eat any Hurricanes on that slot, and remember, Noivern's confused. We get a little bit lucky here. Noivern does hit himself in confusion. Just a little bit lucky here. And we go for a Spore on the Noivern. And remember, we can hit the Noivern because it is flying. It's not protected by Tapu Koko's electric terrain. So Noivern is now asleep and confused. We see the Koko switch in here. And I realize, like, I really have a pretty decent play here. I can switch on my Tsarenna, come with my Mudsdale here, and Mudsdale just has a ton of pressure against things like Tapu Koko, like Garchomp. And remember, this is an Assault Vest Mudsdale, so it's incredibly bulky. He goes for the Nature Power, which turns into Thunderbolt onto the Tsarenna slot, but Mudsdale is going to block that. And remember, I did go for the Y-Guard. I was trying to block Dazzling Gleam. So now that I've realized that there's not really a reason to keep my Smeargle on the board anymore, I expect the Tapu Koko to switch out as well. So I expect the Tapu Koko to switch out for either Garchomp or the Gyarados, which we see here. So I predict the switch out of the Tapu Koko, and then switch in my own Tapu Koko. And I am also going to be using the shiny Tapu Koko. Normally I would use a special attack natured one that's choice specs, but this one is going to be a little bit different. I'm sure you guys have seen it before. It's just a standard Life Orb set, and this one actually has Taunt, which I don't really think matters, but I got a free switch into my Tapu Koko, which really puts a lot of offensive pressure on the Noivern and the Gyarados. We see my opponent switching out their Noivern, because the asleep confused Noivern is not really making any plays here, as I switch out my Mudsdale coming in with Tsarenna. I'm doing this just to potentially block a Water Z move on the Mudsdale slot. We see the Gyarados go for the correct play, which is just protect to not eat that Volt Switch, and I go for a Dazzling Gleam, and this Dazzling Gleam would have KO'd the Noivern as well as really punished a Garchomp switch, and so I felt the Dazzling Gleam is a bit of a read, but it puts me in an incredibly good position to where Dazzling Gleam would KO the opposing Koko, and it would then like chunk the Gyarados, but remember, if Gyarados stayed in, ate the Dazzling Gleam, and like a Tsarenna Trop Kick, he would have gone down. So we're going to see my opponent go for a Protect with their Tapu Koko, and I do decide to go for the Volt Switch this turn, just because I want to get Gyarados off the board, and you're going to see what I also follow it up with. Remember, we're Volt Switching into what was a Gyarados slot, right? So let's say he switched in Garchomp to block that, to nullify my Volt Switch. Well, we're going to be following that up with a Fighting Him Z from the Tsarenna. So that would have put Garchomp within KO range for Dazzling him. So I had all my bases covered with that play, and because the Noivern switching came in, we're going to be able to KO that, and we got a really safe switch into our Smeargle. We can reapply Fake Outs, we can reapply all the things that Smeargle is really good at using, and remember, the Electric Train is actually about to expire, so we might be able to start using Spore again soon. So Noivern, unfortunately, is going to go down, but at least it foddered my Z move. Like, it completely just wasted my Z move to KO that thing. So yeah, the electricity is going to be disappearing, which means that it's almost time to start using Spore again. So we see Gyarados come back in. Remember, there's the Gyarados, the Koko, and the Garchomp. I don't think we've seen any items on these guys other than the fact that everything really has Protect and the Garchomp has Swords Dance. So we're going to see the Koko try and go for a double Protect. I don't really know what was up with the double Protect. I don't know the read that was really there. I ignored it because I expected he was just going to Volt Switch out. So, well, I ignored it with the Spore. But you can see I get the Spore up onto the Gyarados. That's pretty good. And I go for just a standard Trop Kick onto the Koko. It's not going to be able to KO because I was intimidated. I was expecting to get a Garchomp switch in there. But, yeah, I'll take the free damage on Koko. And now we're going to switch out Smeargle because even if he had Dazzling Gleam, he didn't use it last time, and I really think that my Mudsdale and Tsarenna can eat Dazzling Gleams like it's nobody's business. Assault Vest Mudsdale is pretty good at eating it, and remember, now he's so low that he's just going to start taking out from Dazzling Gleam, and actually the Gyarados wakes up after one turn, goes for an Ice Fang on Tsarenna, and it also just goes to show how bulky this Pokemon is, as I go for a second Teeter Dance. Remember, Mudsdale is the second Pokemon on the team that has own tempo, so it's going to be just an amazing play there, I think. I think it's really cool. I could have left the Smeargle in, but I think Mudsdale eludes a lot more offensive pressure, really cramping my opponent's style. And remember, Garchomp's in the back, but I also saved my Smeargle to be able to reapply Fake Outs, and I saved the Smeargle Sash, and it's just overall a much better play to switch the Mudsdale in. We're seeing the Gyarados stay in here, and it looks like he's going for the Z move, and that is completely fine. We're forcing the Gyarados to Z move. Remember, we're gathering information for the second and third games in this set, and if he goes for the Z move on my Mudsdale, I can just bring in my Koko, I can bring out my Smeargle. There's so many more ways that I guarantee my victory if we make our opponent blow their Z move on our Mudsdale. So the Water Z move is going to come in, is super effective against Mudsdale, who's not at full, which means he will be going down to the Water Z move. It's really not the end of the world. I pretty much did this play on purpose to bait the Z move, and we also get a Trop Kick for our troubles. Remember, Trop Kick guarantees that it drops the attack of the opponent. That's the effect of Trop Kick. It's similar to Lunge. So it's not like I'm getting lucky with these attack drops 100%. So we see Garchomp and Gyarados versus me sending out my Koko right now. So we know that Gyarados is really keen on protecting. And also Gyarados has very limited options against these two Pokemon. Ice Fang doesn't do that much to Tsarenna. Waterfall wouldn't KO my Koko from here, and we have to, and it's also confused, so it's not really that much it can really do. He goes for the Protect, and in reality, I'm just getting this Garchomp off the board. I'm like, you know what? Garchomp's had too long to stay on the board. We're going for Dazzling Gleams here, because Dazzling Gleam plus Trop Kick would be enough to take out the Gyarados most likely. So we actually get a critical hit on the Garchomp. I don't really know if it was needed. I have KO'd Garchomps with it before, but either way, remember, we still have the Smeargle, we still have the bulky Tsarenna in the back, so I'll take the crit. I'm pretty sure I might have needed it, but I mean, it's not like Garchomp could have really done that much, barring Earthquake, and Earthquake wouldn't have KO'd Tsarenna, so either way, we still would have won, but we just went a little bit turn early. So pretty good game one. I feel like I showed a lot of the unique mechanics this team can do. I used Teeter Dance with multiple own tempo Pokemon and had correct switches, correct reads to keep the correct two Pokemon on the board at the same time. So the next game is what you all are interested in. We're going to be using Murkrow in the next game. I'm going to load up the replay, and we're going to hop right into it. Alright, so we're going up into game two. We we are bringing the Murkrow this game. It's finally time for me to start using Murkrow, and this Murkrow set is a little bit different from the normal Murkrow sets you've probably seen. Normal Murkrow sets have like Snarl, Foul Play, Tailwind, Roost, Taunt, all those really cool moves. My Murkrow's moveset is, I believe, Roost, Protect, Foul Play, and Quash. I think Quash is a little bit better than Tailwind right now. It's not as versatile, but it actually gives a lot of strength to this team who has a lot of slower Pokemon like Mudsdale, like Tsarenna. So Pokemon that aren't necessarily good for Trick Room get a lot more usefulness out of something like Quash, and we're also going to see a couple cool combos I can make with Quash, as well as the use of Protect. I think running Protect on your Tailwind setter is always something that is, if you have the freedom to do it, it's a very good play. So we're going up against Sophie. This is going to be game 2. He's going to be using Tapu Koko, Alolan Muck, Gyarados, and Noivern again. So we're going to hop right into it, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of how I like to use Murkrow with this Tsarenna team, because Murkrow doesn't really have own tempo. He has Prankster, so it's a little bit hard to use a Tear Dance combo, but there are a few things that make it actually a lot better when using Murkrow when compared to something else. So we're going to show that here. So we lead Tapu Koko and Murkrow, and I think some of you might be able to see the play that I'm actually going for here against Tapu Koko and Muck. So remember, our opponent is one that likes to play very defensively. They use Protect not on cooldown, but very frequently to be able to gauge what we're going to be doing. So in doing so, I know that I have a little bit more freedom to use the correct moves and try and read them a little bit. So right off the bat, they're switching out their Tapu Koko, and I think this is actually because they expect me to be either switching or Volt switching as well. They try and like pin me with this. I'm also just going to be protecting with my Murkrow because I don't want to just eat a Thunderbolt from their Koko, and I just go for a safe Volt switch against the Muck. And remember, we're Volt switching Muck instead of Volt switching Koko because Muck's the Pokemon that can deal the most damage to our Koko. So whenever you're Volt switching, always hit the target that could be KOing you back. And we get a free switch into our Tsarenna as we see Poison Gas from Muck, and I do not agree with Poison Gas Muck, but it is their choice to use it. Remember, it is a poison attack that hits both, so if you're playing a really bulky, stally, multiple protect, correct switch game, Poison Gas might be useful, I guess. I'm trying to give it some type of praise. So we're going to see Gyarados Protect. Remember, last time I did this, I went for like a big Teeter Dance play. So he's protecting to make me blow my Teeter Dance. I'm expecting him to maybe come at me with a Poison Jab. That looks to be what we can expect from our opponent here. I'm just going to completely ignore that. Remember, Gyarados doesn't really have a ton of offensive pressure in the matchup against something like Murkrow and Tsarenna, so I don't need to Teeter Dance it. I can actually just go for the Z move, the all-out pummeling, going to be dealing neutral damage against the Alolan Muck, and since that guy's sitting pretty at about 50-55%, we are going to be able to KO it without ever activating its berry. So very good that I got the big KO on Muck. That's a ton of pressure taken off of Pokemon like Tsarenna and my Murkrow and my Koko, so I'm feeling very good about that KO as we see the Noivern come in here. So Noivern is a Pokemon that does deal a lot of damage through the use of like Hurricane and other stabbed moves to Pokemon like Tsarenna, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to quash it, and this is why I like this combo over something like Tailwind, because we can go for a quash, we're going to eat an attack from the Gyarados, but like, what's Gyarados really doing? We know it's not Flying EMZ. We actually went out of our way in Game 1 to confirm the Water EMZ so we could start doing combos like this in Game 2. So he's going for the Hydro Vortex. If he hits Murkrow, I roost it out. If he hits Tsarenna, which he does hit, which I think is the correct target here, it's resisted, and it's not going to get any KOs. It's just going to get me closer to taking out from Poison. So he hits the Tsarenna, I think it's the correct target, and we go for a Teeter Dance here. And remember, this is going to hit everyone. Sure, it's going to hit our Murkrow, but we already used our Prankster Quash. Like, we already got what we wanted, and this is better than Tailwind because it's going to force the Noivern to have to be confused. Like, I guess you can say if I Tailwinded, I could do the same thing, but the Noivern would be attacking me first, versus this way, it has a percent chance to not even attack, it's going to hit itself with confusion, and we're in a pretty good spot. So I'm ticking out here, but now my Murkrow is confused, but that's fine. Murkrow did literally everything that it already had to do. We're going to get a free switch up into the Mudsdale, and by now, our Murkrow has garnished so much like attention by using Quash, Protect, Foul Play. It's the highest health Pokemon I have. It makes our opponent pretty much go for a nuke onto it. We're going to eat a Super Fang, which I thought was very unfortunate, but it was the correct move in the correct spot, and a Waterfall. So good job to our opponent for making the correct nuke on Murkrow. It's the correct play. I'd still rather have the Murkrow than the Mudsdale, so I'm happy that I made that switch into Mudsdale. As we go for a Trop Kick onto the Gyarados, remember, one drop kick onto the Gyarados is going to lower its attack and pretty much put it within KO range for a potential Dazzling Gleam from our Life Orb Koko. So now that both our opponent's Pokemon are pretty much within KO range for Koko, we have a free safe switch in for Koko. We still have the Murkrow in the back if we need it. We're going to force the Noivern switch out into our own opponent's Koko. And it's just going to be Dazzling Gleam off to the races. So Kokos are on the board. This Gyarados is going to try to protect, and I think this is a very ballsy protect, because Tsarenna is one of those Pokemon that is known for using Feint. All I had to do here was just Feint the Gyarados, Dazzling Gleam. This game would have been over. Little does he know, my Tsarenna does not have Feint. I have Protect, Teeter Dance, Trop Kick, and High Jump Kick. I guess he's seen all those moves, so I guess he knows that I don't have Feint. But still, it's like, oh man, it's so weird seeing Pokemon just protect in front of a Tsarenna. So Tsarenna's still starting to tick out here, but remember, I've already dealt so much damage with that first Dazzling Gleam that I'm just going to be able to reapply it over and over again. So we see the Gyarados is switching out for Noivern, and we're going to actually see something kind of weird here. We're going to see the Koko go for Protect. He does not want to risk Speed Ties, which I have no problems with, but I do feel like I am the person in charge here dictating play because I have more HP than he does, and I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam, and I'm actually really surprised to see that Noivern live the Dazzling Gleam. So that means he must be like full speed HP. We already know that he's full speed because he's faster than a bunch of other Pokemon that he was using, like his own Garchomp. And it's just really surprising to see it, but we did make the correct play and double target into that slot anyway. So either way, we were rewarded for correct targeting, and Tsarenna's finally going to tick out, and it comes down to Murkrow Koko and Gyarados Koko, and I feel like I'm in a very good spot here. My opponent's Koko's Protect is on cooldown. Sure, I could go for the Volt Switch onto the Gyarados. Actually, I don't remember what move I actually do. I think I just go for the Dazzling Gleam. And I think my opponent's only out here is to try and go for a double protect on their Koko, which they don't do. They decide to go for the Dazzling Gleam here, and it's not going to be able to get any KOs. Luckily for me, he doesn't get any crits. He takes the Life Orb damage, which guarantees that he goes down to even the lowest roll from my Dazzling Gleam. So I'm actually quite fortunate that he was able to attack first, I guess. And it's going to put him within KO range for the Dazzling Gleam, as he's going to go for the Waterfall onto Koko. Like I said, I think his only real out was to try and get a double protect with his Koko and go for the Waterfall onto me. But hey, I mean, I guess he also banked on the fact that he could have got a crit on either of those and been fine. And Murkrow is going to be the last mon standing, sealing things up with the Foul Play. So we finally used Murkrow. It's not the most unique set. I actually think it's more reminiscent of a Sableye. But I think that I like the Murkrow a little bit better because it has the flying typing and is able to avoid a lot more other attacks. Like Murkrow seems to bait a lot more things that Sableye doesn't really bait. So that's why I'm using Murkrow. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these games. Like I said, I just didn't really have any video to upload today, and I did have this best of 3. I just got back from Worlds. I got a bunch of cool merch. I had a blast, and I will be uploading a bunch of content from Worlds, and then after that we're going to hop into some brand new teams. I picked up a ton of cool tech at Worlds, and I can't wait to show you guys in the In It to Win It episodes. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think about these battles in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.